Flowers on Stage.
So I was binge listening to a James Horner song. Rest in peace. He's a composer. Are you familiar?
No.
Okay, well he's a composer. He wrote the music for Braveheart, but he's written a lot of good stuff. But I was binge listening to one of his songs. I do that. Like I get obsessed with a song. I listen to it all day. And I was like, oh, I need to send this to my brother because it's such a beautiful song. And he's heard it, but I wanted to remind him. I think we constantly need reminders of the world's beauty because it's really easy to be in the mindset where I wake up and I'm really thankful to be alive, but it's also really easy to lose that. So art for me is kind of a constant reminder that the world is beautiful and everything's going to be okay, right? Anyways, he doesn't have Spotify, so I go to YouTube to get a link to send him the song. And the first comment, I'll try and say this without crying. Uh,
Don't even worry about that.
the first comment was a lady that said her daughter just passed away, and the song made her feel like it was okay and that her daughter was okay. And I was like, holy shit, for lack of a better word, what a powerful thing to do with art and music. So, that changed my whole day. And like, I want to write a song that makes people feel like things are okay. And then, so that song did that for her. And then it did it for me just by hearing that comment. And now it's doing it for you and anyone else who listens to this. So one song can, create so much positivity in a world that can be very dark and change the lives of so
Mhm.
many people. So to be a part of that in any art form is sacred, in my opinion. And when you do a live show, it's not necessarily like my goal isn't necessarily to like make you feel good about some horrific thing that happened in your life, but it does happen and it does bring people together. And I try and really respect that and make sure that I care about every show, every note, every part of the process when I'm writing music, when I'm playing music, when I'm sharing music with people. Just, a book. I read a book this summer that changed the way I interacted with the world, and therefore it changed my life. It changed the life of anyone I interacted with, and that's still trickling to this day. My family, my friends, everybody was changed by that book because I was, and that's the beauty of art and music. So, yeah,
Amen.
that's how I feel about it.
Amen, man. It's amazing how ideas can kind of just like ripple through, you know, people
Yeah,
just
it's
like music.
it's amazing the effects that you can have from just one note, one song, one page of a book, the one sentence on a page. I read a book last night, A Bridge to Terabithia, which is a
Shout out
heartbreaker.
to that book. Oh my gosh. Blast
But
from the
I
past.
had weirdly never read that, and yeah, I bawled like a baby. But that has affected how I act all day today, just from reading that. And yeah, art can change lives, man. It does all the time. It's one of the best ways to do so. It's one of the best ways to fight the darkness, for lack of a better word for it. So I love music.
I'd love to hear what you think it is about music that can cause for it to heal people.
Um, well, I don't really know what it is because I'm just so immersed in it when it happens. I think it's just the art of creation is something that all human beings can and should do. And so when you hear something that's created by a human, you're hearing like genuine uniqueness from that human being, but you're also hearing like kind of a collective, in my opinion, like the universe is, I'm just being a channel for like this collective universe and it's coming out through me and it's showing like the beautiful side of it. So I guess, yeah, music is just it just resonates with people so well. It doesn't even have to be beautiful music. Like I hear like really hard music sometimes and it's exactly what I need to hear. I don't know why music is so good at doing it, but I know it is really good at that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because it's a good channel for us to show the world's beauty. I think music just shows it really well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be as literal as like I literally in my own project lately, I've been sampling sounds from the world around me because I'm like, well, what's the best way to show how beautiful the world is? Well, let's record a bike pedal. Let's record, the wind blowing in my backyard. I have a beautiful backyard. So yeah, I'm actually working on a song right now where it's like I've been hiking in the desert a lot, so we're using a lot of like hawk screeches and like sounds from the desert, desert wind, desert critters, and it could be that literal, but also it's just music doesn't have to be literal at all either. It can be just like this is beautiful. I was inspired to make this by this, but it's not literal. I just
Mm.
that's what inspired this. So yeah, I mean it's just another music particularly, but all of the art forms are just us channeling the beautiful inspiration we've had or the negative inspiration we've had.
Totally. Mark, one thing that interests me so much about having to be a professional artist is
Hmm.
that like music in general is this kind of like pure thing that we're just genuinely making for whatever reasons. And then
Hmm.
when it becomes a profession, there's almost this like implied rat race with like quote unquote success
Yeah.
for professional artists. And I'm wondering with you, like, how do you kind of navigate and balance with that? And like, how do you define success for yourself on a day-to-day basis? Not really kind of zooming out and looking at, things like yearly revenue and monthly ticket sales, but on a day-to-day basis, like what makes you feel like you had a successful day as an artist?
I mean, on like a business level, when you get an idea for a concept of artwork, or when you get an idea for a tour, or you get an offer to play a festival, these are all very physical valuable things. But on like honestly, like on my level, man, any day where I make music is success. And I tell this to my family, my kids and my friends. I have artist friends, and I'm like, there is no like right now I'm making a lot of my own music from a place of security. I have a career, I have a roof over my head, and I'm making art in my free time, and that's really nice. So like if you have a job that allows you to make art in your free time, whether that be music or art or whatever, uh, then you're doing it. So for me, a successful day of any sort of life is making something every day, whether that be maybe today I don't feel like working in a room with a computer all day, so I just go listen to the world on a hike, which I will probably do. I mean, that to me is the beginning of a song. So any day where your head is like trying to wrap itself around creation and having fun and being inspired, that's a successful day. Now I know that sounds kind of like whimsy, but yeah, that's actually how I feel. It
And the
doesn't have to
whimsy
be.
side is part of being an artist.
Yeah,
Like you're not an accountant.
I'm not, and I am. I do logistics for the band, and I know my way around a spreadsheet, and I know how to do all that, and I do find joy in that sometimes, and I'm thankful that I have a successful career. But yeah, on a simple level, as long as you're creating every day, you're capable. It's okay to take days off, but as long as you're creating, consistently, then like you're succeeding. And I like to tell people this because I get that question a lot. Like I go to jams in San Diego and stuff, and a lot of guys are like, how did you do it? How are you successful? And I'm like, well, I don't know anyone that tried to do art full time that failed personally. I know people that decided to stop doing it, but I don't know
Yeah.
anyone that was like, I'm really wanting to be an artist, and then they just failed. That doesn't really happen from my point of view. Um, I see people that get sick of trying that hard and they want to take the pump the brakes a little and make it more of a hobby or whatever. But yeah, I don't know anyone that's fully thrown themselves into just being an artist and then having it just negatively affect their life personally. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions, but generally speaking, if you decide you want to be an artist or a musician and you are willing to hone your craft, of course, you can't be lazy. You will find some sort of success there. Um, on what level, the world will decide. But yeah, I mean, just make art every day, man. It's that simple. And hopefully in the meantime, like I washed dishes when the Floozies started, because my
Mhm.
boss would let me take off to go on tour because it was the only job where I could leave for 2 weeks and come back and have a job waiting for me. And I loved that job. I still think about that job. I loved being dishwasher. I loved the people I work with, and it allowed me to make music in my free time, and it was a great job. So
Heck yeah.
that's an art life there. I could have been a dishwasher for another 10 years. It wouldn't have bothered me. Luckily, I
I,
didn't have to be, but yeah.
I've actually been a dishwasher too, and I also loved that job.
Yeah, it is a great job, man. I mean, Something about just keeping things clean is just nice. It's and it was very physical, so I got my exercise, so I didn't have to hit the gym as much. I would get my exercise and I'd go work on music or go play concerts with my friends, and
You
yeah.
brought up a minute ago like the whimsy, and I was like, yeah, but you're not an accountant. And you're like, well, I kind of am. And I want to ask you about like cultivating that way of seeing the world as an artist, like keeping that inner child, that whimsy. Like, what's the best advice you can share about that?
Go to the library. Go to the library, man. Read a lot. Read a lot of books. Go on a walk. Go for a hike. Listen to music. Look at paintings. Go to galleries. I have a really good friend I met recently. He's a sculptor, and I go to art galleries to see his work, and I'm inspired all the time. We go for hikes and we talk about art. Surround yourself with people that are whimsical. And if you don't have people like that, there are books like that. Thousands of books. I have so many recommendations. Dandelion Wine is my favorite book of all time. He has a
Dandelion wine.
Yeah, he has a it's a hard book in a sense because he writes so uh grandiose, like it's like each page is a whole thing. You gotta like slow down and read. But anyways, read books, go to the library, it's free. Find things that inspire you. If just sitting in your backyard inspires you, well, that's cool too. So being whimsical to me is just like we all need these reminders because I start off whimsical every day, and then I need to file an insurance claim and go to the dentist and get my oil changed, and then like some days are just like that, but ideally I'll listen to a beautiful song I heard. Actually, I've been listening to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack a lot because it's been making me feel really good. I
Mhm.
was doing yard work the other day, and the Bridge of Khazad-dûm song came on. Are you familiar with that song?
Is that from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, beautiful song.
Don't know it
Uh,
by the title, but big
so
Lord of
I
the Rings fan.
I straight up had to turn my weed whacker off and just go sit on my picnic table out back and like close my eyes, and like the wind and like the song just like washed over me, and I had a whole moment. Bro, I could have cried. I didn't, but I could have. I mean, it was just like when you're doing these things, like going to get your oil changed, you can find whimsical things too. Like I was
Mhm.
just mowing my yard, but I was taken over by music. So yeah, listen to music. Go to the library. Those are the two best things you could do.
There's something so precious about like the way an artist sees life. Like
Yeah.
the way you're describing, like it's few people that will pause their weed whacker to let a song overtake them.
Yeah. I've had eras in my life where I wasn't like that. I'm thankful where I'm at in life right now, where I am like a sponge right now. Everywhere I go, I'm inspired. It's crazy, man. And I think it's a combination of being in a good place in life and just reading and listening to the right things. And
Mm.
it's really great when I'm on tour, man, because when I'm in that mindset, I'm inspired so much by like when you're on tour, you're around so many people and environments, and there's just so much to be inspired by. I did this tour with Dirtwire recently, really inspirational dudes. They're so creative. They play a million instruments. And, me and David Satori, he plays banjo and violin. We were like besties because he also wanted to just walk around and see the world, and just we would rent bikes and go for bike rides, and him and Evan and I and Honeycomb, we would like go off to these weird little nature spots, and I'd bring my drum and I would play brushes and he'd beatbox. And I mean, so when you're on tour and you're in that mindset and you find people that either are kind of in that mindset or they are, then you can be there together and you're all inspired and you're sharing what you're inspired by and you're doing what you're inspired by. And yeah, so tour is a really cool place to be inspired. And we just started doing long tours again. We were just doing fly dates and weekends. And I will say it is hard to be inspired when you're in an airport, 2 days a week. Uh, so the long tours are definitely better for inspiration because you're on a bus and you're in different cities and it's very fun. But yeah, so people surround yourself with good people. That's a good way to be whimsical too.
Mhm. What other like intangible personal qualities would you say are like most important for artists to have?
Uh, you know, I think like anyone can do it. I've met the most rigid of people, the most by the book. I'm actually pretty rigid in some ways. Like I'm very neat and OCD. So like I don't know if there's that many personal qualities that that make you a good artist. Being open to one of the best things to do is with your art is being open to let the art away from you. So like not having an ego about it. Like
Mm.
whenever I'm working on a song right now that started as like this kind of nature song, but like it very quickly became like a UK rap banger. And my ego, could have let me be like, no, this is a nature song, So drop the ego and let the song or the art piece or the photograph or the interview in your line of work, whatever, let it be whatever it wants to be. Like take your
Mm.
control out of it. One of my favorite songs I've made, I wrote all these really cool lyrics. And when I went to make the song after recording this wonderful singer friend of mine, I deleted all the lyrics because they didn't fit, and it just became a completely different song. And so I wrote all these lyrics, and they were pointless. They did not fit in the song at all, and I deleted them, and I let the art piece be what it wanted to be, and I took myself out of it, and let my ego. So being no one's ego free, but being willing to let go of your ego for the sake of the art is a huge quality in an artist that I think is helpful. Makes it a lot easier. You have to have some ego and vision and stuff, but yeah, ultimately being open to that you are not the most responsible or you are not the most important part of this song. The song is more important than you. And this really works for drummers. Speaking from a drum standpoint, when you play drums, you don't have to be the best drummer. You have to be unique and you have to be yourself. But what you need to do is play what the song needs, not what you want to hear. So you're a support role as a drummer.
Mm.
So you build the song up. You take your ego out of it. It doesn't need a the whole time. Sometimes it just needs a and that's it. And so yeah, take your ego out of it, I guess. That's a good trait for an artist.
And I love that, like serving the project, not, trying to be heard.
Yeah. And it's different for everyone. They're like it's hard to tell a sax player like whose entire job is melody and soloing and carrying it. Like, hey, rein it in, man, because you don't really want him to rein it in all the time. You want him to shred. You want him to have like balls and an ego and just go for it. But yeah, there's a time and a place for all of it, and definitely in the rhythm section and just as a musician, you want to serve the music and not yourself.
Mm. Can you talk to me about maybe what you've learned as an artist about life when it comes to getting over self-doubt, like navigating through that, whether it's putting yourself out
Oh
there, putting
man.
a song out there?
Yeah, well, you're gonna die someday, so that's that, man. There's literally no reason to not put it out. Like, just do it. Just do it. The world needs more art. We all need constant reminders that the world is more than the negative stuff we deal with. I need thousands of books. I will read thousands of books in my lifetime. I need millions of songs. Someone needs to make these. We all do. Humanity needs art, music, books, photographs, paintings. We need it. And there isn't that many people that do it because they're scared. They're scared of failure for whatever reason. I don't know. But yeah, someday you're gonna be old, quite old, and you'll be physically incapable of making art. And yeah, we need it, so do it. There's no downside.
Mm.
I can't think of a single downside to, you put out a song and it doesn't go anywhere. Honestly, that solo album I just put out, it has barely any listens. And I don't care at all. It was such a pleasure in making, and it's touched enough people that I know personally that it was a very valuable thing for me to do. But yeah, you only live once as far as we know, so there should be no fear and no doubt, man. I mean, put that thing out yesterday. Keep
Mm.
keep it moving. And if you look back on it and you're like, I could have done better, well, then do better. You know, I don't think anyone should ever hesitate to do something valuable with their time, or even if it's scary or whatever. Because yeah,
Mm.
you only live once.
And you mentioned your solo projects. That's Bray Radbury. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've always kind of made music. I've been playing guitar and piano since I was like a toddler. But I never really did anything with it. I wrote in Logic. Logic is like a Ableton kind of, but throughout the years. But I just made like little hip hop beats. I never really turned them into songs. And then actually, David Satori inspired me because he does like DJs like these like sober parties, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like while he's on the road with Dirtwire, he does like David Satori DJ stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy a DJ controller and I'll like find songs I like and some songs I've written and kind of and then I just was obsessed. So I started producing music at home. Like on a good day, I was working on music 12 hours, that day, like any free time I had. So I just got obsessed and I ended up making an album over the course of like 2 months of obsession. And now and I was like, well, if I'm gonna DJ, I want to play my own song, so I need all this music. And so I wrote, I'm at about an hour of original music I've written in the last 3 months. And it's just been really fun. And it's making me a better drummer in the Floozies because I just have a more in-depth passion for music again. And I'm just having a lot of fun. And it's great because I like being on the road with the Floozies and being able to like in a perfect world, I DJ first of three with my original music. I share these pretty songs I made with people, and I get people there early for the support acts and the other artists that are on the bill. And so it's just kind of a useful tool for the Floozies and just for me to enjoy. And I have so much fun making music. So anything I get to do that involves that is a win.
Heck yeah. And everyone out there listening, we got links in the description where, you can check out Bray Radbury. And also March 21st, the Floozies are coming to Denver at Mission Ballroom. Are we going to get a chance to see a Bray Radbury appearance there as well?
Yes, I don't think it's announced yet, but yeah, we're gonna add that, and then there's just a bunch of good support on that bill as well. So I wanted to, get people there early to catch all these wonderful artists. So I'm gonna play first and play my original tunes, and then hopefully, get some people out early that wouldn't necessarily otherwise see all these wonderful artists that are on the bill. And honestly, man, the Floozies are at the top of our game right now. We've been doing it about 20 years. And we've got a new album coming out that I'm extremely proud of Matt for writing. It is just amazing. He's like next level producer. He's really reinvented himself. I'm inspired by him. I've always been inspired by Matt from back in when I was a kid and I'd watch him play guitar at AMC theaters. He did like when he was a kid, he would play like metal guitar for movie tickets. He played at like little carnivals and fairs in Kansas, and then he was always in bands, and I was his biggest fan until we were in a band together. So, new album's gonna be banging. We're gonna play a bunch of the new stuff at the Mission Ballroom, so it's gonna be really cool.
Yes. And yeah, everyone out there listening, we got link in the description to get your tickets to that as well before it sells out. March 21st, Mission Ballroom, Thought Process, The Sponges, Homemade Spaceship supporting the Floozies. And you heard it here first, Bray Radbury joining the bill. Get
Uh,
there early.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So yeah, Mark, zooming out, I'd love to hear something that you believe now, kind of about life, maybe the way the world works, that you didn't believe when you were younger growing up.
Hmm, what do I believe now? I haven't changed much. Luckily, I had a really lovely childhood, so I remained pretty unscathed by the world. Um, and I wanted to be in a band and a musician. I wrote a book. Actually, hold on. I think I have it.
Oh,
My mom gave it to me. Yeah. Here, I'll show it to you.
yes.
Ted's Band. I was Ted.
The
Okay.
cover.
Yeah, yeah. It's about a guy, he's like a successful musician and then he retires in California, which is funny because I live in California now. But I wanted to be a musician since I was little, and I always thought it was possible thanks to my parents. My dad used to like fight the good fight when people would be like, "Wait, your sons want to be musicians? What's their backup plan?" And he's like, "My dad had our back. I'll just leave it
Mhm.
at that." He would argue for us. So I always knew I wanted to be a musician. My parents supported that. It was never a weird thing for me. I guess I had a lot of the Sunday scaries growing up. I remember. Are you familiar with the Sunday scaries?
Yeah.
Where you're just kind of like existential as a child. You're worried about death and heaven and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
I have since grown very comfortable with the way the universe works and with the fact that I don't believe I know how the universe works. And I think it would be narcissistic for me to think that this is all that there is. And that has been comforting to me. So that is something I picked up that I didn't necessarily have as a kid. It's a really useful tool to realize, hey, I don't know all the magical elements of the universe, and that's okay. Uh, it's actually kind of there's a lot of hope there, and so I guess if I could go back and tell my young self, like, hey, don't stress so much about all these like things that you don't understand because you're never going to fully understand them, and that in itself is hopeful. Like, there's a lot going on here that we don't know, and it would be silly to think that we're going to understand it. So yeah, I guess that gives me a lot of hope, and a very human thing is coming to grips with death, uh, and that's something that we all struggle with, I think. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten more comfortable with the possibilities of the endless, of just being a part of a greater thing than just planet Earth and this life. And I believe that there is more out there than what we're experiencing right now. So that would
Yeah,
be one big part of growth, I think, that I've had.
it can be daunting to consider what's beyond this,
Yeah.
but it's also a big juicy mystery that kind of makes life spicy.
Yeah, of course, and I just, yeah, realizing that there's more out there than I know was just really helpful for my mental health.
Mm. Shout out mental health.
Yeah.
How is your relationship to performing and to, you know, being an artist? How do you feel like that's changed over time? Maybe even over like the last five,
Oh,
10 years.
I can talk about that a lot too. So I always viewed the show as a sacred thing, and I hated canceling shows. I do not like canceling shows because I know that everyone in this building, for on some varying degree, took time to be here. They were excited about it. They spent money. They got rides. They got babysitters. They've been looking forward to a day or 10 days or a month or a year. Who knows? Depending on the level of fandom. So I always viewed shows as sacred, and it's been an interesting thing trying to convey that every night in the past because you're sick or tired or like you drank too much one night or like so. I always tried to deliver that, but getting 100% sober a few years ago made that whole process so much more easy for me because I am on the top of my game every night and I'm able to do this experience and its sacred nature justice. Like every night, I feel amazing and I'm ready to give these people whatever they need, whatever I can give them. I give it to the best of my ability every night now. And I always tried to. But I will say, not drinking alcohol at all has led me to a path that makes this so much easier. I have so much energy, and I'm able to give it to people who deserve it for spending time away from whatever else they could be doing to be here with me. And I'm able to do it justice a lot more successfully now that I'm sober. So that's great. Uh,
Amen to that, man.
so yeah, the live show is really special, and I just want to do it justice. Whether I've done it 100 times that year or not, they haven't, and they deserve the closest replica I can give them of the feeling of that I haven't done this 100 times that year. And each show is so unique, man. I mean, you're if you embrace the environment you're in, if you go for a bike ride in the city you're in, if you walk around, if you meet some people, if you talk to security, whatever. If you're present while you're on tour, each show is unique because you were present all day and you feel differently than you did the day before. And so, being present and being healthy and exercising and taking care of myself leads the show to just what it should be, which is a celebration every night, not a drag. It should never be a drag. If you feel like it's a drag to play shows, you should change how you're playing shows. You should be having fun, and they should be having fun too.
I love that. If given the chance, what do you think the future you would say to you now?
Slow down and enjoy the ride, man. I think the future me would like where I'm at. Make more art and be kind. That's what future me would probably say.
Heck yeah, Mark. I like that. Well, this has been awesome. Appreciate you taking the time and everyone out there listening. Again, we got those links in the description to check out the Floozies website, everything they've got going on, upcoming tour dates, Bray Radbury, all that good stuff. We'll see you at the Mission if you're around Denver on March 21st. And yeah, final question for you. here,
Yeah.
Mark, as we're wrapping up. What's the best advice you can share about living a life that people can look back on and be proud of?
Best advice. Just go to the library. No, that is a good one. But take in the world's beauty any chance you can. Like just take in the beauty of like, if you're a parent, what your kids say to you in the morning. Just take it, witness beauty as it happens because it's happening all around you all the time, and don't be too wrapped up in your own head to see it.
This is Flowers on the Stage.